So welcome everyone. I am Maria Pinar and I'm standing in for June Riley, the CEO of VC Task Force today to host this session. I am delighted to have Gary Fowler and Haisam Jamal here on this conversation about Haisam startup. So VC Task Force is focused on programs for VCs, angels, and corporate VCs in conversations around investment trends. And you can find more information on our website at vctaskforce.com and also on Eventbrite with the different programs that we are hosting. But for that, I will hand over to Gary to facilitate today's conversation.
Fantastic. Great to be here. Thanks, Maria. Haisam, it's great to see you today. My name is Gary Fowler, and I'm a serial entrepreneur and investor. I've been involved in 17 startups and 2 unicorns. I was on the original management team of Click Software, which was sold to Salesforce for $1.35 billion, and also Eva.ai, an AI HR tech company. Love artificial intelligence and quantum computing, because as you know, we are in a state of infobesity and we got to deal with the data. So with that, you know, it's interesting. Haisam's got an incredible background but when we look at his entry, it says, in a world with booming B2C commerce business, Distichain reinvents global trading with the introduction of a seamless B2B e-commerce platform using blockchain and AI. And so with that, Haisam, great to have you here today. So I got a question for you, a little bit about yourself. You studied at the American University of Beirut. How was that?
That was a huge culture shock. I had just come out of Melbourne, Australia, and because of my heritage being Lebanese, I did go to the University of Beirut, and it was, it was great to go there and just get in touch with the different cultures and etc. And the overall university was good. The ability, learning a new language, learning a new atmosphere, a new culture was terrific, and it really kind of molded me. Met some great people down the road also. So overall, definitely a good experience overall, and kind of led me on my journey. Kicked me off on my journey, which led me here today.
Was it safe, Haisam? Could you just walk around campus? Because I remember a long time ago, I mean, there was a lot of stuff happening there. Was it safe walking around, or what was it?
Yeah, so basically, before I came, it wasn't, and recently it's not. But at the time that I was there, it was all good. It was pretty safe. I mean, I stood out like a sore thumb because I was a bit of a foreigner. I didn't speak the language much, etc. We didn't get into the local complexities, let's say. But overall, it was a great school to be around, and just overall, the time that I was there, I think was a decent time.
So why did you go there instead of staying in Australia? What made you decide that one day you wake up and say, I'm going to go to the American University of Beirut, and that's a place I want to. I'm just curious because, I studied in Russia a bit myself, and people say, why'd you do it? And there's always a backstory. It's interesting.
Well, you see, I'm third generation Australian, but originally my heritage from both my mum and dad's side is Lebanese. So growing up, I really didn't know Arabic. Didn't know much about the culture. Heard about the motherland, but didn't visited a few times. So by actually going there and doing finishing off my schooling, I was able to connect and integrate and reach out with old family and etc. So that was really the driver, just to explore something new.
That had to be pretty cool, right? Going back to the motherland to meet with your relatives and to have your baklava and domades and all the domas, right? The real stuff, though.
Yeah, exactly.
That must have been really incredible. And how long did it take you to learn Arabic once you were there?
I mean, it I got some special tutoring and etc. because it's not an easy language to pick up very quickly. But eventually you get there. I don't think there was a certain time, and then at a point in my career, I went and did a stint there with Nokia. I spent another 5 years, kind of based out of Beirut again, by coincidence. So that between that and university, I've become quite fluent. Still not great with the reading and writing, but you know, I can pass off as a kind of Lebanese when it comes to language.
Do you have an Australian accent when you speak Arabic?
No, but sometimes I get some words wrong. I used to have a terrible accent, but now it's good. I mean, now if they pay attention, they'll realize something's off. But otherwise it's pretty, you know, I can blend in. But the funny thing is, right, I go to Melbourne and they're like, where you from, mate? And I'm like, I'm from over here. They're like, no, you're not. Because obviously being outside of the country for so long, you kind of, your accent tones down. And then I go to Beirut or to Lebanon and they say, where are you from? I'm like, I'm from here. They're like, no, you're not. So I don't really know where the home now is. Maybe it's Dubai. I don't know.
Wow, that's
a bit of a citizen of the world.
So you did that. You were working in Iraq, Syria, Jordan, Lebanon, Sudan, and the Palestinian territories, right? With Nokia. It must have been incredible going across those different geographies and fascinating because the cultures are different, right?
So here's an insight, right? I wasn't allowed to travel to half those countries.
Seriously? Huh.
Yeah, so I was managing those countries. Some of my team members were allowed, but because I was in a high risk situation, you know, high target, could be used against the corporation. We had limited travel, so I wasn't allowed to go to Iraq. Just the security team, the Nokia corporate security team.
Wow, amazing. Okay. So you moved, it's interesting. Well,
but it was an interesting, fascinating stories come out of running a business like that, because there's never a normal day.
Mm-hmm. No, I've been there. I worked through Central Asia and Russia, Ukraine, Belarus, and I've seen some different scenarios for sure. So you move forward, you know, you work in Jeddah with the Saudis for a year to Dubai. What made you end up selling? What did you say, Dubai? What is it? Is it because of the culture? Is it because of the opportunities? Why did you decide that that's going to be the place?
So here's the thing, right? When I graduated, I got a couple of job offers. One of them, well, the most attractive of them was in Dubai. And honestly, I didn't know where Dubai was. That was back in the late 90s. So I really had no idea where I was going, but the job was very attractive. It was related to Procter & Gamble and all of that. And Dubai has this thing, right? It grows on you. You like it. Everybody's here for 2 years, but ends up staying more than 20. And I guess I'm no different in that. So that's what brought me to Dubai. What kept me in Dubai is it grows on you. It's a great city to live in. A lot happening.
Haisam, what do you mean it grows on? What do you mean it grows on you? What grows on you?
I mean, so we have a lot of services in Dubai. You get really comfortable here. It's a great place to live. A lot of people are like you. So 10% of the population is actually from the country. 90% are people passing through like you. Mm-hmm. So you make a lot of friends very quickly, a lot of like-minded people. Probably the most multicultural city in the world, really. My children's school, like 20 different nationalities out of 25 people. So just to kind of put it into perspective. So that multicultural melting pot with great service, you can do whatever you want in terms of entertainment, in terms of business, in terms of, so it's hard to find something like that, although the summers are a little bit tough.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. All right, so let's go down through. You go down, you Tazi, you go through as a general manager of B&C trading. Okay, let's talk about Chalhoub group. So I don't get this. What is a beauty director or Saint honoree? What does that mean?
So here's the thing, right? I joined Shalhoub Group, which is one of the largest local conglomerates that really take a big chunk of the beauty and fashion industry across the Middle East and Africa. They're probably the largest partner in the world for LVMH Group, just to put it into perspective. And I did a couple of roles with them here because they're fragmented into many companies. They then decided to expand into Latin and South America. And we bought a company or invested in a company, which was the Santander company. And we invested with Abrash Capital back in the day when they were still active before they kind of fell apart. And I went there to kind of represent the interests of the Shalhoub Group kind of from my side, and the CFO was appointed by the fund. So that's kind of how we landed there, but it was a very interesting experience because I lived out of Panama, working across several countries, Colombia, Chile, Costa Rica, some of the most beautiful countries around the region, you know, having teams there, different distribution and retail operations across that region. So it was a very interesting experience, learned another language or a little bit of it. And you know, Panama, although it was just a few, you know, just a couple of years, it really grew on us as a family. So loved it.
Wow, that's amazing. Okay, so now let's go to Distichain. Tell us about Distichain. What was your idea about the efficiencies and the securities for global inventory? How did you come up with the idea? And let's talk about it.
So here's the thing, right? I mean, across my career, I've been doing and running large businesses, large distribution companies, retail and trade, import and export, et cetera, et cetera. Whether it's with FMCG, P&G, Kraft Foods, whether it's with Nokia, which was at the time was the largest company in the world, or whether it's with the Shalhoub Group in the Middle East or in Central America. That's what I've done all my life and been successful at. Around 2017, the emergence of blockchain, the emergence of this new technology that you started off the show with, started talking about. And some great innovation was coming out of that. Some great innovation in fintech, some great innovation in supply chain. And this was not just startups. This was big corporations like HSBC and Maersk getting into this space. So you had the small and the big coming up with great solutions. Terrific. But these solutions, and these solutions promise to change the way that we do business. They just, you know, could give us solutions that we face for problems that we face every day in the trading industry, in the import and export process, et cetera, et cetera. But the question for us was, how does that solution reach everybody? How do companies, small and large, regardless of location and size, realize what's out there and have access to it? And that's why we created Distichain. I mean, that's the whole idea and inspiration behind Distichain, because what we're doing at Distichain is we're pulling together a huge amount of solutions that sit in the back end across fintech, supply chain, verification, everything that you need to run a transaction. And then on the front end of that, we've got communities of trade. We call them marketplaces, but they're communities of trade. And that's really how, that's where the idea came, to get this new technology, these new solutions across, you know, that really change how companies work and can operate, and give them to companies regardless of size or location.
So tell us a little bit about it. So, you know, you're working on the smart contracts to be able to secure the credit. You're integrating for know your customer and AML. So where is it? Where does it sit, and who are the potential customers for it?
Okay, so basically, Basically, yes, as I told you, part of our inspiration is actually integrating into a number of different service providers. Now, in order to do a transaction, there's certain things, especially when you come to an import-export transaction, large transaction, $100,000 plus. In order to do that, there's certain things that you need. It's just universal, okay? First of all, you need to know who you're dealing with, and that's where the KYC, KYB comes in. You can't just deal with any man that walks in with a bag of cash and say, here you go, I want to buy some stuff. Corporations cannot work like that. Companies cannot work like that. So that's number one. Number two is you need a payment and you need trust, right? Because there's huge amounts of money involved sometimes, whether that's $10,000 or whether that's $1 million, whether it's $50 million. There's large amounts of money that are involved. And that requires trust. So you need a banking agent, a fintech solution that is able to manage both sides of that transaction. You also need to ship the goods, to physically move them from warehouse A in country A to warehouse B in country B. And that takes a logistics company. Sometimes you need to inspect those goods and you need to ensure that shipment as it goes. And we're just talking about the supply chain and how broken up it is. At the moment, just to validate what you were saying, at the moment, every single step of that journey is fragmented. Every single step is done through a different channel, right? With different people involved. What we have done at Distichain is we've pulled that all together, put them as a buffet, think of it as a buffet of services, and then offered them to people that are trading with each other, transactions. And then they get to choose who they want to finance with, who they want to ship with, who they want to insure the company, the products with, et cetera, et cetera. And they're able to do that all via this one platform.
And does it show who has the best price? Can they compete? Sorry? Can they compete in the pricing?
Absolutely.
So, well, think about that. So now you know who the best is, and you know who has the best service.
Absolutely, and that's exactly right. So when we have a shipment that's off to between the United States and Dubai, okay, we actually send it to several providers and we get quotations, and we don't choose. It's the guy that's paying the bill who chooses. We're just facilitating the relationship. We're just facilitating the process, and it's a zero email process. So now, normally companies deal with one logistics company, and they, regardless of if they're getting good prices or not, they're just dealing with them because that's who they know. In our system, no, we try to have everybody there and everybody can fairly compete. And if you want to choose the most expensive or the least expensive, the quickest or the shortest, it really doesn't matter to us. What we're doing is we're facilitating that process and giving access to companies of all sizes. Obviously, as we build scale on the front end of our system, then we'll be able to optimize those services more and more, give more transparency, and really start adding huge value to the smaller companies that are at a disadvantage in their trading environment.
And with the trade and service providers, they're anonymous, right? You don't know who they are. They're for business privacy concerns, correct? They're masked.
Yes. So today, in terms of the traders when they're trading with each other, it's really defined by the marketplace and by the situation. So if that is a private marketplace, they're masked. But once the transaction is done and once the deal is done, for legal purposes, they have to see who they're dealing with. They have to see who they bought the goods from. So we just follow the rules. But the point is, we're not reinventing. I always say we're not reinventing the wheel. Mm-hmm. We're just automating it.
No, that's super.
Simplifying it and giving visibility across all levels.
And how many customers? Where are you right now today? How many customers do you have? And how does it look? What's the future look like?
So basically, I mean, we've launched recently. We launched around August with our initial customers, but it's been great, Gary. I mean, we've actually, I mean, I signed up a new customer today, and our customer is an enterprise customer. So this is not a user. This is a customer that is actually building a marketplace or a marketplace solution to bring in a community of traders. So just to put who our customers are, they're not the end users, they're the owners of the business. So up till now, we've signed 10 customers up, and they've if we look at them, it's not only the number of customers, and 10 marketplaces is quite a lot, because they have potentially many users on the front end of that. I think what's important is the diversity of these customers.
Mm-hmm.
So we've got everything from a very large B2B marketplace, which has millions of importers and exporters already on their platform. They just love what we do, and we're trying to build it themselves, and saw that we were a shortcut to that. Or another platform that actually has multiple marketplaces but doesn't have that import-export capacity that we have built using our technology. So they just integrate our technology to be able to kind of go from a country level marketplace to a regional marketplace. And we're also signing up some large companies that are looking to simplify their supply chain, because as you said at the start of the show, again, you can't go 5 minutes without hearing about the problems that supply chain
every single day. It's unbelievable.
Every single day. And all we're doing, I mean, we're just putting all the pieces together. And while doing that, we realize how broken it is, right? Because you start to see that this standard does not talk to that standard, and each industry is using different standards. So part of what we're doing, which is part of the complexity, is unifying that and then making it into one stream.
There was a question from one of the attendees today. They asked him, did you do a family and friends round, a safe, or did you do a pre-sale and an airdrop?
So we did a family and friends round, and a safe round. So that's kind of how we started off bootstrapping, obviously, but after that we did raise in the more traditional way.
And what's the future look like? When's your next round going to take place?
So basically we are halfway through a round now, just to get us, and that round is basically going to get us into a strong Series A, because we have the customers. We just need to now grow our sales efforts, reach out to more and more customers, and continue to add features. I mean, we have a lot of additions that we continue to evolve the marketplace while our customers worry about the commercials. So we're kind of their technology department. So we're currently halfway through that round, and trying to conclude that in early 2022, and then that will get us very easily through 2022, whereby all of these customers that we've signed up very recently will be trading and growing, and obviously all the other ones that we don't know yet, and that will put us in a very good position to go into a hyper growth mode.
Yeah, that's fantastic. So we're coming to the top of the show, Haisam. So closing thoughts, and how do people get a hold of you?
Yeah, sure. I mean, personally, I'm very excited. I'm very excited because I see the reaction of our customers. Okay, and that's where you've got something where somebody says, "Wait, did you just say you just do what you just said you do?" And then once they go through it, we're signing up significant customers at a great pace, and obviously it needs some time just to get them going, but that is really, really exciting. So we know that we've got that fit, and if we look forward, we started off with entrepreneurs. Now we're going into small and medium-sized corporations, into larger corporations, and then starting to become the default of how to build a B2B marketplace, or the default technology behind B2B marketplace. Let me give you an example. When you're building an ERP, you don't go and start building an ERP. You go to a couple of companies, you can name only a couple, and you go and build your ERP with them. And that's what we believe we can do with Distichain in terms of trade. So we're very excited, and especially when we get that feedback from the customers that are coming in, giving us their business and putting their core of their business onto our platform, which is still very new. So that's a big stamp for us. In terms of contacting me, obviously I'm active on my LinkedIn profile. Haisam Jamal, Haisam, and also via our website, www.distichain.com. We actually make sure to, respond to anybody who reaches out to us and engage with them. So yeah.
That's great. Thanks very much. And I'd like to thank the entire team for VC Task Force for making Gary's Picks possible. June, Joel, and now Maria, thank you very much. Haisam, thank you so much for taking time out of your busy schedule. Distichain rocks. We want to see it rule the world. We need you. Blockchain security and getting the right product, the right place, the right time are critically important. Maria?
Thank you so much, Haisam and Gary. I mean, this is a fascinating space and so needed, especially now where the supply chain is so broken with all the security challenges. So lovely to find out more about your company as well. And any of the participants who want to reach out to either Gary or Haisam, you know where to find them on LinkedIn. So thank you so much for the insights and your time with this program as well.
Thank you very much, and stay tuned for another 2 weeks. We'll be back for another edition of Gary's Picks on VC Task Force. Thank you very much. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.